Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian, and today we're doing encounter recap number 25 of the Storm King Thunder campaign. And so this encounter here is a lot different than we've done so in the past. While we've had very combat-oriented encounters before, like where it might have been 2/3 combat, 1/3 roleplay and exploration, that kind of stuff, this was legitly 90% in combat. The rest of the time was a little bit of time trying to get a rest in and a little bit of skills to see about, so can we slink our way around. So it started off with us finishing off the encounter from the previous time. So there was still a warrior darkmantle and a builder darkmantle. You guys dispatched them pretty quickly. When you took down the warrior, the builder tried to run away, and you guys not having very good dark vision of the group, we're relying on an ego to kind of point out where it was, and so he would fire. That would give you guys an idea of where it was, and you guys would all unleash at that time. It worked out okay. You guys wound up killing it in the end there, but the first couple of hits, weren't exactly, or the first couple shots at it weren't exactly well placed. From there, Ivar joined you guys, and so he missed the previous session, and so to work him into the story, he came in by himself and fought through a different entrance. And with that, what I did to kind of find out how much health he's missing, because, I didn't want somebody completely fresh coming into a situation where it's meant to be a repetitive, I don't want to say repetitive, I will say repetitive combat situation where we're going combat, combat, combat. So that way it's looking at resource management and that kind of stuff there. So what I did is I had everybody take the percentage of the health that they're missing, and then I averaged it out, and I said, all right, well, Ivar, dock yourself, this amount of points, put yourself at this percentage and adjust your spells accordingly, and we did, and I think that worked out pretty well. But after he joined, you guys backtracked a little bit to that small side tunnel that you came down from the rope ladder, or from the rope, and you guys tried to set up shop and take a rest. And it took you guys a couple of times to get a rest. The first time you were bugged by a couple of the small drone guys, and you guys took them out pretty quickly. The second time, there was a builder that came down the tunnel, and you guys all stayed pretty well hidden, except for Thessalon. Thessalon realized his gig was up and started running down the tunnel, and the builder started chasing after him. And that worked out well for everybody else, because everybody else took an attack of opportunity as they just blasted on this thing as it went on by, and you guys ended it pretty quickly. From there, you rigged up the body to make it look like it was doing some work in the tunnel. That way other dark mantles would go away from there, and that worked, and you guys were able to finally get your long rest. From there, you navigated all around the hive there, came to larger and larger tunnels leading to whatever made these tunnels is obviously getting bigger. Or at least whatever's using the tunnels needs to be bigger, as well as there's probably a little bit more traffic and so on there. And you guys were able to navigate around there without much issue. Thessalon kept pass without a trace up pretty consistently, so that was good for the group. That helped with the stealth checks, and so you guys didn't have any encounters leading up to the big Royal Rumble that we had going on for the rest of the time there. But once you got to the Hive Queen, Inigo was the only one that could see her clearly off in the distance. Once again, being a drow, having the superior dark vision allowed that to take place. And so, he kind of described what he was seeing, and then there was several builders walking around. There was one or two warriors floating around, and then there was drones going in and out all over the place. And so you guys were trying to tactically think about how to do this. And here's where I did something I don't like doing that often, but when I do it, I try to make sure there's a reason for it, which was I kind of put a time. So I set a timer on my phone, and every time, this case, it was 1 minute, I think, is what I set it for. I gave you guys at first a couple minutes to kind of play around and see what you guys want to do, and you guys weren't coming up with solid ideas. So I set a timer, and I said, all right, I didn't announce it initially, but the 1 minute went up, and I brought in, some drones went in, some drones went out, a builder moved around, everybody kind of moved around, and so every minute I would shift what's going on to show you guys that what you guys are doing isn't, you guys don't have a permanent amount of, or unlimited amount of time to figure out your ultimate game plan. And I liked putting that kind of stress on you guys. And eventually Inigo and Thessalon wound up trying to head. And the main thing is you guys want to just kind of cut off a tentacle from the Hive Queen, try to get some royal jelly from her without getting into combat. And Inigo and Thessalon started creeping out towards the middle there, and they forgot that Thessalon was the one that was holding the party together with his pass without a trace, because everybody else was stuck way behind. The way I describe dark mantles, they don't have eyes, and so they rely completely on whatever, this case, blind sight and kind of echolocation for finding things. And so, you know, what's it called? Pavik had light going on his shield, so, you know, he could see kind of what was going on there. But Inigo and Thessalon, they did really good stealth checks, but everybody else, as they were kind of waiting around to see what's going on, you had two people in heavy armor, which, you know, that's a disadvantage on your stealth checks when you're trying to move around and kind of get an eye on what's all going there. And so having that there, as these guys, the drones are coming in and out, in and out, in and out, the drones found the rest of the party. Inigo and Thessalon were safe in the middle, but everybody else kind of started flocking over towards the front of the group. There wasn't a whole lot of space in between them, maybe 50 feet or so, but it was enough to kind of create two separate fights. So you had we had what? Ivar, why can I not think of names right now? Man, Ivar, Pavik, Rondi, and I'm forgetting our other player. Wow, I apologize. Maybe we only did have 5. I apologize. Then we had Thessalon. I feel like there's a 4th player, but for some reason I'm drawing a blank right now, and I'm not going to dwell on it. And then up ahead we had Thessalon and Inigo sneaking in, and they were able to get up close. But the queen was a bit more had a bit more range than they initially thought. She had these tentacles that just kind of lashing out all over the place. The warriors, they came in and helped out, you know. And then the drones, the big thing with the drones is they kept on coming in and dropping their darkness. And so, was it Pavik or... Oh, Gramak. That was the other guy. Gramak. Yes, Mark. Sorry about that, Mark. So yeah, we the 4 people fighting was Rondi, Ivar, Pavik, Gramak. I don't remember if it was Gramak or Pavik that did daylight. So Gramak wound up getting a spear that can cast daylight, and that kind of batted away all the darkness. I liked the way this fight worked out. There's kind of a couple of pieces that I liked. First thing, I really liked the Hive Queen for that being a 100% custom monster. And my first monster I did with legendary actions that I've created, I really like the way that turned out. The healing royal jelly, mucus, whatever you want to call it, having this kind of big stationary target that can constantly heal the enemies and herself, really made you guys have to think about, you know, it wasn't just as much as putting out as much damage as you can on one target, or on multiple targets. You guys kind of had to focus fire. And then I brought back the drones. I switched them. Previously they had actual hit points. In this fight, what I did was they all had 1 hit point. I brought back the minion aspect that I did before, back from the 4E days. And with this, at the end of, or on each of their turns, what I did is I rolled a d4, and I did 1d4 minus 1 was how many more drones joined the fight. So some, I actually went through a decent set of turns, I think 3 or 4, or a decent set of rounds, I should say, 3 or 4 rounds where no drones joined in. But then towards the end, a couple more trickled in. Sadly, I think one came in at the very end, right as you guys killed the Hive Queen, and it was like, oh, crap, I'm screwed. Really liked the way the Hive Queen worked. There was a couple engulfs. The Hive Queen pulled in Thessalon, and then Gramak got covered up by one of the warriors, and so you guys had to help them out. Pavik's head, I believe, got engulfed at one point by a... or no, it was Ivar's. Ivar's head got covered up by one of the small drones, so you had people getting covered up by the drone. Gramak got covered up totally by one of the warriors, and then Thessalon got sucked in deep. And then Thessalon wound up getting saved because he was not looking good. I don't know if there was table talk on this or not. I don't recall hearing how many hit points. I know at the end he wound up having 3 left. I don't remember if other people at the table knew that or not, but Inigo dove in. He asked, can I jump into the Hive Queen? And, sure, go for it. So he dove in. He grabbed Thessalon and then did a still or silent spell for Dimension Door, and poof, teleported them both out to safety. So yeah, once that all ended, you guys did not get a rest. I told you guys, you scraped up all the ooze that you could. You grabbed a little sample of this, sample of that, because you didn't know what's royal jelly, what's mucus, what's something else, who knows. So you guys just took samples of everything you could find, cut off a bit of the tentacle, shoved it in your pneumatic tube, have all your little samples going. But you guys now have to escape an angry, pissed off hive of dark mantles that you just killed their queen. So now they are going to be actively searching and looking for you guys as you guys are trying to run out. So no rest so far. That's where we left off. We'll pick up again next week. I really like I know the way we do things. We normally do one encounter a day, and I don't like that because you guys tend to blow a lot of your cooldowns, and it's hard to challenge you in that format. So I really liked getting into this multiple combat. I know you're supposed to eventually get up to the rule of like 7 encounters a day, whether that's combat or role play, just 7 total throughout the day. We don't do that many, mainly because we are in a small bite 3-hour window, and I don't like trying to carry stuff over in between sessions. But I really like the way this is working out. I really like the boss fight. You guys all seemed frustrated with it, but in a good way. Like, you understood the mechanics, but like the dice wasn't going your way. When eventually Thessalon realized he was going to do was it chill touch, or one of I forget the spell, the cantrip that doesn't allow hit points to be regenerated. He went ahead and did that finally on the boss, and the Hive Queen, you guys were able to work it down pretty quick after that. But I really like the way this worked out. Really happy with the Hive Queen. Really happy that how all of my monsters work together, considering it was 3 custom monsters and 1 regular one. I felt it was the appropriate amount of challenge for you guys. And I liked the way it all worked out. You guys thought about it. There wasn't a whole lot of table talk about, I'm going after this guy, I'm going after that guy. You guys all kind of did your own separate thing, but in a good way. And I just wish we had more fights like that. So, I know we were talking about coming to a close, towards the end of July here, but I hope to at least get one other fight of similar nature. So I rambled on a little bit about how much I liked this fight, but I really did. I like this whole Dark Mantle Hive set. It's not just because it's all my custom creatures, except for the one of them. I just feel that it's, really a different play than what we've done before. We're doing more exploration and combat versus a role play focus with a minor combat there. So it's like lots of combat and some exploration, minimal role play. I don't want to do that full time, but for right now, it's a nice break. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.